Salutations! I am StereoLotus77, and today we've got a completely new kind of video for you guys. So, this is going to be a new series called The Road to Discovery, where I am going to be playing games that I don't play as often or don't play as much as I'd like, and learn new things about them. Or, I mean, heck, I could even apply this series to probably something in Borderlands 3 as well. But we are going to be going through and discovering how different mechanics work and delving into them. Now, I don't exactly have the time to do a 100% thorough search, so some of that research, some of that off-end research, I'm going to be offloading to people in the comment section or onto the internet in general. But for the most part, I've been doing my own interpretation of things, asking my own questions, and figuring things out on my own. Now, how I'm going to format these videos when it comes to knowledge base in the background is I'm just going to play the game and to figure my interpretation of how things work. And then I'm going to post a video about it. After the video comes out, everybody else is going to see it, and then there's going to be a lot of, you're freaking stupid, this is how this actually works. Or there could end up being, hey, you're actually right about something. That's cool. So that's I'm kind of looking. I want feedback on how my interpretation works in comparison to how it actually functions in game, or in comparison to how you would want to play it. Now, with this video particularly, we are going to be going and utilizing Salvador to explain survivability in Borderlands 2. Now, the reason why I'm using Salvador specifically is because I caught a Starkiller stream not too long ago where he was utilizing the Brawn Tree for Salvador and focusing on this for all of his survivability, no lifesteal, no transfusion, no nothing like that. And I found it extremely interesting. And in the stream, I even asked, just like as a broad question, how tanky is Salvador, sort of as a joke. And now I'm here to actually like answer that question, which is kind of crazy to me that I went from asking to just trying to answer. But this is the way that I think a lot of people should be approaching these kinds of games and these kinds of questions. It's a lot more of asking the question and going out to try and solve it themselves instead of resolving everything to what the internet says or what Loot Lemon says or whatnot, and just blindly believing what somebody else says is true about the game. So every time you guys are going to be posting like feedback and stuff, I want either like some sort of like evidence to back it or something that I can look at as a source to be like, all right, cool, that contradicts what I was going through. Or just a way to say that the way that I tested something, or the way that I read something was wrong. And just by proving my point wrong is well enough for me to be like, all right, I will look into or believe what you are saying until I find countering evidence. Now, I'm going to be doing this in different fragments, so we're going to be covering every single subsect of survivability as its own part within this video. We're going to start with like HP, then move on to how shields work, and then move on to how damage reduction works, or how HP regen works, and separate all of them into their own subsections. So there's going to be a lot of like splicing and edits in the voiceover part of this video. I initially was recording this to be like one full cut. I am speaking and just showcasing everything on the character, and after a while it didn't really turn out how I wanted it to, and I spent 6.5 to 7 hours just retaking one long take of this giant breakdown, and it didn't go very well. So we are trying this way. I am going to be running some beatdown in the hopes of getting like a Cobra or something. This may be a slight spoiler for tomorrow's video, but we'll see. Either tomorrow or the weekend. I haven't decided when I'm gonna drop that yet. If you have been keeping up in the community tab though, you would know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, we're gonna move off from this intro section, move right into the fragmented commentary. Part 1 of this video, that's not the intro, we will be going over the HP system. So all characters have a HP value, so your red health bar. When that hits 0, we're going way back to the basics. When that hits 0, you enter 5 fear life. So, what is the base number that we are working with? Salvador, without any skills, without any items on at level 80, has a HP value of 1,410,474. Now, that base HP, see, that just sounds like a lot to somebody who isn't very well versed in the Borderlands franchise, or somebody who just simply came over from Borderlands 3. A lot of the HP and survivability numbers are a lot smaller in Borderlands 3. They do grow to monstrous sizes later as they scale way faster when it comes to how skills work, but in the base meat of it, it's a lot less of a showcase in BL3 as it is in BL2. Here, we have over 1 million to start with, which sounds like a lot. But then as we go into the HP skills that Salvador has, Salvador only has access to hard to kill, which isn't really that much. At 5 points is plus 20% max HP, and then 0.5% health regen. With that, we're getting 1,692,569 HP. Which, sure, that's cool, but that's it. That's the only max HP increase he gets from his skill tree. Everything else is either regen based, damage reduction based, or other forms of survivability. That's the only skill that gives max HP. So what do we do from here? We've gone over HP. Now, what is the second big form of survivability? The second big thing is shields. Now, on the character that I'm currently playing, the highest capacity shield that I have is the antagonist. So I'm going to be using that as our baseline shield capacity for now. And then once we get closer to the end of the video, I will be talking a lot more about how different shields work on Salvador and what ones are best for survivability and what circumstance with what gear items that I've seen that I am enjoying using right now. So for our shield, the antagonist, it has a base shield capacity, at least the one that I have, is 6,473,311, which totals our overall HP value at 8,165,880. Where did I get that total? Well, I added the red health bar to the shield number, which to a lot of people at this point is going to be like, whoa, hold on, don't do that, why are you doing it? I as of right now, we are currently just breaking down what these two stats mean and how they affect your survivability. And at a very basic sense, they both make up your total hit points. There are minute detail differences, like one has a resistance to different elements or is weak to different elements than the other, and one has maybe like underlying mechanics like health gate, but at both of their most rudimentary sense, they are both a form of HP. So I'm just adding them together with a total number. So moving on to the next bit, we have health regeneration. Health regen is odd. When it comes to trying to calc it with skills that don't have it specifically labeled, it is very difficult for me to just eyeball something like that. I did give my best attempt at just eyeballing it, and then made a couple educated guesses to be like, hey, this is what that number is for this unidentified skill, but I can't exactly just be like, this is the answer. And when I tried to do research on it on Loot Lemon, because that was the only site that I was like, I'm just gonna look at Loot Lemon, I didn't see anything. Loot Lemon didn't have it, and I was kind of just like, what the heck? Why is that not on here? I feel like it's kind of an important thing, but okay, whatever. So the skill that I'm talking about right now is just Gunzerking. When you activate Gunzerk, you get a 50% HP recovery, and then you have consistent health regen while it is active. What is that health regen? based off of my personal testing, I found roughly 4.5% health regen. Just again, I eyeballed the number of health regen. My test was as simple as I went out with a level 50 Bada Boom, shot myself until I was low enough HP to where that 50% would still give me time, that 50% heal would still give me time to look at the numbers increase. And I just counted like the rotation of the number on the next like 5 seconds and then divided it, and it took that in comparison to the max HP, and the number that I got was roughly 4.5%. Now, there is a chance that it's not actually 4.5% and rather just a flat health value. And if that's the case, I didn't exactly account for that. I thought about it after I was doing my testing. I was like, I don't feel like trying to discern which it is right now. So if you guys have the answer to that, that would be awesome. As of right now, for the rest of the math in this video, I will be using it as 4.5%, just for the simplicity of breaking down what it means. I don't typically like to just do the math. I like everything to be in concepts. It makes it a lot easier for people to think about later. And that makes it really easy for me when I'm doing Borderlands 3 videos to be like, hey, this concept applies to this variant of math. I don't have to do the math on the spot. I can just be like, that makes sense, we're gonna do it that way. And so with this, our total health regen, if we get every single health regen skill in Salvador's tree, brings us up to 11% max HP. The 4.5% from Gunzerking, the 5% from Hard to Kill, 4% bonus to Gunzerking from Ain't Got Time to Bleed, and then the 2% from Sexual Tyrannosaurus. So now we have, again, that total hit point value of 8,165,800. Red health bar gets a 11% regen per second of the max HP, which right now is 1,692,569 at this stage. Now, when I was initially doing calcs, I didn't really think about including the shield recharge rate delay, because at this point, I was kind of fixated on the Rough Rider build. I really wanted to play around with the Rough Rider later in the video, and so at this stage, I didn't really think about it, but I do have the numbers here now on my notepad here of what the recharge rate and delay for that antagonist that I have is, which would be 649,629 for the recharge rate, and then a delay of 1.43 seconds. Now, what do each of these numbers represent? Shield recharge rate is the amount of shield that you heal per second after the appropriated time of you taking damage. So, after the delay. The delay is the amount of time between you taking damage and the recharge rate begins. Simple enough, right? Next, we move on to damage reduction. We will be doing all of our item stuff at the end. So, when it comes to like class mods and relics and stuff like that, we're doing all that at the end. As of right now, we move on to damage reduction skills. So, this was another eyeball number with Gunzerking. Gunzerking doesn't state what the damage reduction is while you are Gunzerking. It just says you gain damage reduction. So I manually calc this using the same method with the Bada Boom. I just shot myself with the Bada Boom without Gunzerking and then with Gunzerking and got different numbers and then just shoved it in the calculator. And the rough number that I got was 45%. Now, because of how damage reduction can work, different number damage can get you different answers based off the test that I did, because I don't exactly know what form of damage reduction guns are using, whether it's percentage based or whether it is just a flat subtraction, because sometimes things like to do that. So I just made the assumption that it was percentage based, and then made the assumption that my shot was accurate with the Bada Boom. So there's definitely room for error with that, but just for, again, simple math and simple understanding, as of right now, because this is just a base layer of understanding, we are using the number 45%. And then Later in the tree, we get access to I'm the Juggernaut, which gives us a 20% damage resistance or damage reduction. So in a lot of games, there is this misconception that damage reduction percentages are additive. And in a lot of games, that is, again, a misconception. And that applies to Borderlands 2. So the number that I got when I was testing the damage reduction, when I got Gunzerking active and while I'm the Juggernaut was active, was roughly 49% damage reduction. But that doesn't actually mean anything. Why? Well, when you apply damage reduction in this method that Borderlands 2 does, it applies them as two separate functions. So we have, let's say, a base damage of 100. If you just add them together, we would have a damage reduction of 65%, so we would have only taken 35 damage. But if you have it apply as two separate instances, we have an initial taken damage of 100, and then we subtract the 45% from Gunzerking, so now we are at 55%. 20% to 55 is 11, so with I'm the Juggernaut active, you are minusing 11, you're taking 44 damage. So there is quite a bit of difference between that 44 and 35 number, and the difference only grows the more you have in those separate damage reduction functions, or the more damage reduction functions you have. It's called diminishing returns, and it's very annoying because a lot of people look at this and be like, this is simple, I'm immune to damage with 100% damage reduction. That's just not true. And as awesome as that would be, that's not how this functions. Somebody count the amount of times that I've said so, and please leave that in the comments, because I have recognized the amount of times that I've said that word is absurd, and it is sort of like my crutch word with this video. I don't know what it is. It might even be a common crutch word from other videos, and I'm just not tracking that, or I'm oblivious to it. So please, somebody leave that in the comments. When it comes to damage reduction, that number 49% that I got can change depending on the numbers that we use as our baseline. So that 49% was based off of the 1,410,474 HP stat from the beginning, with just having Gunzerk and I'm the Juggernaut as our two skills that were affecting anything. Those are the only two skills active. The only other skill that I had was Insight, and that just increases movement speed and reload speed, so that shouldn't have affected the test at all. Now, that concludes our damage reduction segment. So now we can actually start talking about items. In this first bit, we're going to be talking about relics, and the relic that I chose to start with to explain how HP scale of item scaling is going to be is why do I have, wait, what the heck is this word? DRSK relic? What the heck is my notepad? So the good lord, the item that I used was the Blood of the Seraphs. This was the reason why I chose this relic, was it increased our max HP and it increased health regen. This raw survivability relic. It's all it's here for. So I chose that one, and I have a couple others on this character that I'm going to be talking about when it comes to the actual item breakdowns. This was just a baseline example of what a relic can do to the character. We went from 1.7, roughly 1.7 and 6.5 roughly shields to 2.284 million red health, and then we kept our shields the same, holding us at 8,758,280 when it comes to our total health hit points, and we increased our health regen by 1.1%. Beautiful. Now, for the rest of the video, when it comes to damage reduction, the calc that I used for the Gun Zerk and the I'm a Juggernaut, I rounded up to 50% for easy math later down the line. Alright, so now on to the fun part of the video. We actually get to talk about the different item setups and different item synergies that I thought of when it came to rocking stuff within class mod and relic slots. So first, we have what I've seen most common is the Rough Rider with Titan class mod. Now, the way that I'm running this, I have the Blood of the Seraphs on for this first segment. So we are going to be talking about the Rough Rider, Blood of the Seraphs, Titan class mod. Those are the 3 items that we are running that will affect our HP, shields, or regen in any sort of way. So that brings our HP value up 8,588,488. And our shield's a 0 because it's the Rough Rider. The Rough Rider has 0 shield, and you're subtracting shields. Now it just doesn't exist. Because apparently those are 2 different functions. You can check this by when you load into a Rough Rider save file. You have the Rough Rider just equipped, you have 0 shield. But if you have something that subtracts from the shield value, it brings you down to nothing. It's not just 0, there's just no shield bar. I find it absolutely hilarious. Now, with this, we also now have the Titan class mod on. So we have the skill points that we have now allocated. We have more HP regen from the class mod itself. So when our HP regen stat went up from 11% to 12.6. Now that's because 5 gave the stat 5, and then Blood of the Seraphs gave us that 1.1. So we went from 11% to 12.1, and now 12.6. And then we have the class mod health regen, which really isn't all that. It's 31,429. Now, there's also a couple other benefits here. Have more damage reduction. So we have 5 extra points into I'm a Juggernaut, which gives us brings it up to 40%, and we have the Rough Rider on for another 20% damage reduction. So you remember when I was talking about diminishing returns? The calc that I got, just going off of the base backburner. Backburner? That's not the rocket launcher, that's the location. Good lord. Why do I do this? Why do I just randomly associate words that are not related to things at all? Anyways, Bada Boom. Based off the Bada Boom test that I talked about earlier, I got the rough calc of 70% damage reduction overall. And that number is, again, that number is very much easy to change or variable, but it does tell you a lot about how damage reduction functions in this. The 40%, well, the 20% bonus to I'm a Juggernaut and the 20% as a separate function from the Rough Rider totaled to be a plus 20. So 40% increase to damage reduction overall gave us 20% more damage reduction. Numbers. So with this high HP value, all right HP regen, and then this high damage reduction value, how well are we actually surviving? So there are a couple issues. First, health gate. I didn't really talk about it yet. So health gate works at 50% HP or above, like 51% HP or above, relative. You won't get one shot from any attack. Now there are some exceptions, but for the most part, you just won't get one hit. You could get 2 hit, you get hit by multiple small sources, and that overall down you, but you're not going to get one hit by a singular source. So you have to lose. It's unlikely you're going to lose all of the HP that you have in one attack. It's extremely unlikely. But once you get low, or once you start losing HP, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to keep that HP flowing while you're going through combat, because you're only getting that 12.6% and then plus the 31k, which really... So an alternative to this setup is running almost the exact same gear, except changing the relic to the Breath the Seraphs, which gives us 19.7% for our HP regen. But it does reduce our max HP down to 6,606,520, which is the setup that I'm probably mostly going to be using. If not, I'm not using the Rough Rider and I'm using the Sham, and I will get into that in the next cal. But right now, we have a rough 70% damage reduction because the damage reduction didn't change. We have a higher HP regen, but a lower max HP. Now, how could this be better? We lose a whole bunch of max HP, so it's gonna be a lot quicker for us to go down initially. And yes, that's true. You will go down initially faster, but you're also gonna have that HP regen to catch up. You have a higher likelihood of getting over that health gate threshold a lot faster. It only leaves it down to 3 seconds instead of nearly 5 seconds, 12.6%. And 1 second to 2 seconds doesn't sound like much, but when you're in the heat of battle, that is a very long time. Now, breaking down the last gear set that I have listed here with the Titan class mod, I have the Breath the Seraphs with the Titan class mod with the Sham Shield. Why am I talking about the Sham? So, survivability isn't just about how well you can take a shot, it is how often can you not take damage. Are you able to dodge? Are you able to simply absorb that damage or reflect it in some sort of way? Talking about the Sham here, we have access to a 77 to 94% absorb chance. That is the range in which the Sham Shield can drop. The one that I have on is an 89%, because I didn't farm for very long. A lot of my other things are perfect, because I probably had them on I had them on another character, but they were probably save edited onto that other character, but I actually farmed for the shield, because I didn't have it on another character that I was using for a Salvador test. So I didn't have it on another Salvador, because that's the weird way that I like to keep my characters or my character, and not by just the items that they have on or any other actual defining factor. So without the Rough Rider, our damage reduction goes down to roughly 60%, having the 45% from Gunzerk and 40% from I'm a Juggernaut. Which does tell me that the Rough Rider damage reduction was in total giving us 10%, roughly, for the other builds. Which is kind of sad, seeing as it actually says 20%, so the diminishing returns cut it in half. But that's besides the point. In total, for total HP, for hit point value, we have 3,338,109. For red health, we have 1,974,664, and for our total shield, we have 1,363,503. These numbers are very small, and you can go down really easily. It takes 2 shots from just about anybody in the beatdown, and you're probably going down. But that's it. 77 to 94% absorb rate is just so good that it doesn't matter as much. All you need is like a good Hydra with a Lady Fist, or a quad with a Lady Fist, or any like close range crit based weapon that you just one tap the small fry with, and all of a sudden you're just not taking damage because the majority of the enemies are shooting at you and they can't do anything because you're just absorbing the shots. And of course it is running slots. You are running a chance per shot to do that. That chance to just absorb from my personal playtesting has been a lot more reliable than just relying on raw brute strength alone through these high projectile mobbing sections. Now, versus bosses, this freaking shield is worthless. It's not going to help you against Terra very much. It's not going to help you against Hyperius very much. You're better off getting above that health ratio where Hyperius's Novas don't knock you below that, too far below that 50% HP, so that this way you can either regen back up or just tank 2 of his Novas. So you have a much longer survivability during his Nova phases and random freaking AoE attacks. So you just have more margin of error. Now, to move on to an alternate setup that I've been playing around with a lot, that I've been enjoying, is Slayer of Terramorphous class mod. Now, a lot of people are probably just looking at me like I'm stupid, and I probably am, but I have been enjoying the playstyle. Has it been better than using the Titan for this specific build function? I don't know. Probably not. But I've found it oddly reliable for me, and I've been enjoying it. Now, the setup that I had initially was antagonist shield, using this as our baseline from all of our other shield calculations. The antagonist shield with a Breath of Seraphs and the Slayer of Terramorphous, which brings up our HP value, like total hit point value, by quite a bit, which is odd. I mean, with the last one, we got it up to a little over 8 million. And the one before that, before we started messing with stuff like the Rough Rider, Titan class mod, we're already over 8 million. We're at 8.7 million. So, going up to an even higher number is kind of crazy. We're at 10 times the number we started with, well, almost 10 times the number that we started with, at 3 million red health, 3,611,874, with a shield value 6,473,311, bringing us a total hit point value of 10,085,185, which at this point is the largest total value that we've seen. We also have our health regen value, which is at 12.5. Not the best, but also not very bad in comparison to what we've been running. We have a shield recharge rate of 600,005, running antagonist. Then we have damage reduction of roughly 50%. The antagonist also has 50-something% damage reduction whenever you reflect a projectile, which also isn't very significant in this regard. Sure, you're getting a large damage reduction, but you're also not reflecting as often in hope. It's not like the Sham Shield where you are absorbing up to 94% of your shots, but it is significant enough to mention. I'm not doing the calc because I end up not actually using the antagonist. This was just the initial shield that I used for calcing. And going off of that, in this next build segment, I actually didn't change the antagonist yet. I just changed the relic. I changed the relic from the Blood of the Seraphs to the Skin of the Ancients, which this was just to get that total number up. I brought up the shield value. So the shield value initially on the antagonist was a little over 6 million. Yeah. Now we are at 8,082,063, which is a lot higher of an increase in comparison to the other stuff that we've been putting in this relic slot. About 1 million more, in fact. Now, we are losing HP regen, but we are gaining various elemental damage resistance, or like elemental resistances. So that is also something to take into account. The rough numbers that I got were like 27 to 35%, which is what was on my relic. I don't exactly know how these spawn when it comes to other forms, but those are the numbers that I had. So the total HP value that we got, the total hit point value overall, 11,101,537, which quite a bit. It's quite a bit. It's 1 million more than the last one, and again, almost, we're very close to that 10 times what the initial health value was. We're inching closer and closer. Do we actually make it there? No, we don't. Not with the stuff that I know of. Is there a way to make it there? Probably. I just don't know. I don't know enough. There's probably some sort of item or combo that gets you above that I'm not tracking. If there is, please comment and let me know. Now, this final setup with the Slayer of Terra that I was playing around with is extremely interesting. We have Evolution Shield. Now, the Evolution doesn't really seem like a whole lot at face value, with it being an adaptive shield. It's just like the Neogenator, except with a little bit higher stats. Okay, so what? There's a lot of people who kind of just shrug off the Neogenator. But with this shield, our red health goes up to 9.9 million. 9,910,041. Our shield doesn't go down because we're not wearing a Titan, but our shield is at 2,697,438, which is the base for the evolution. And at this point, I put the Blood of the Seraphs back on, so we have that health regen of 1%, and we have that increase to max HP. Now, with the evolution, after taking a hit, you get an increase to your health regen. It does have a base 0.008% regen, which I guess at this high of an health, numerically is a big number, but again, by percentage is not, and so you could easily round it out and it wouldn't change much. But after taking a hit, getting it up to just the shield give you roughly 4%, that's quite a big deal. It's quite a big deal. So our shield recharge rate with this shield is 383,036. The shield itself isn't the big number. It's the health value paired with the interesting HP regen value. But having the shield value is what tips the scales in comparison to the health value of the Titan class mod structure. But we only have 50% general damage reduction, with the 45% from the Gunzerk and the 20% from I Am Juggernaut. Now, the evolution giving us 86% elemental damage reduction can be really cool, it being an adaptive. It can be really cool for some niche scenarios, but overall, just from a general playstyle perspective, I haven't seen that specific stat impact gameplay very much. Now, there are definitely quite a few things that I didn't mention when it comes to survivability that I could either make a future video on, or you guys can just leave in the comments, like fight for your life scaling and whatnot. I have a loadout on this character where it is the... What's the shield and gun combination again? It's like Aquitus? Something like that. I think it's the Aquitus. And then you pair that with the Veritas. And so I have 4 Veritas pistols on the Salvador, and I have the Aquitus, and I was very tempted to just like try and make that pair work because of the extension to Fight for Your Life. But I very much decided against it very quickly because these guns don't freaking deal damage. They don't deal as much as I want. And so, for the video's sake, it was a lot simpler to just run a Hydra with a Lady Fist, and if I get downed, a World Burn with a Flacker. But, for the most part, the Veritas thing just sounds like so much fun to just try and build around a Neem with, that I do want to play with it at some point. Sounds super stupid. And then there are some other things like the Peak Opener Easy Mode Hard Carry combo that gives you increased fight for your life, and some other various stat bonuses and whatnot while you are in the Struck Peak. And there's some other like effervescent combos and whatnot that gives you various stat bonuses in different locations. I didn't break them down here as they're kind of miscellaneous. And I'm not breaking down the movement side of things, or again, the lifesteal side of things, just simply because lifesteal is kind of an overdone concept. And this whole video was based around not needing lifesteal. So we're not going to talk about it very much. Now, I did have the O negative and the leech on this character's kit. Did I use them? No, but I might use them at some point, probably for tanking Hyperius runs, because I kind of just want to see if I can outlive Hyperius. Just deal enough damage to prevent any health regen from keeping him alive, while constantly just surviving to outlive the boss. Because I know there's a lot of people who complain about his inflated stats, and I kind of just want to be like, I just out-tanked Hyperius. Which, it would be absolutely hilarious if you could do that. And it would be even better if I could somehow pull it off against, I think it's Veracitus? I think it's how you pronounce it. The boss in the Hammerlock Hunt DLC. If there's some way to out-survive the boss while still dealing enough damage to get past the absurd HP and shield scaling that boss has, that sounds like a lot of fun. And if somebody would like to help me on that journey, that would be great. If that's even possible. I know there's going to be a lot of dissenting voices who are just like, no, you can't do that. And that's probably true. But I would at least want to try, god dang it. I hope to see y'all in the next video. I hope you all enjoy this style. And I would love to do more of this style in this series. This does seem like a lot of fun to me, even despite the amount of recording errors this video's had so far. I hope y'all enjoyed, and go check out Starkiller for his amazing Borderlands 2 content. He was the inspiration for this video, so go check him out, please. And see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye. What? Hold up. Less than an hour? Less than an hour of running this? Are you kidding me? Hold up. Alright. I haven't been farming for very long. I was just recording the footage for this video, and I already freaking got it. Luckiest lobby in all of Borderlands. Skip you. Holy heck. It didn't take very long at all. That's crazy. Okay. Well, this is being tagged onto the end of the video. I hope y'all enjoyed. And this was initially going to be on my New Year's resolution, but looks like we got it just beforehand. This video, hopefully I get everything rendered and this drops at the usual 2 o'clock, except it's on Tuesday instead of Wednesday. But this was crazy. I improved so much at the gameplay aspect of this build during this run over the course of like 40 minutes or so. And holy heck, this has been a crazy experience running for this sniper rifle. I am hyped to try this out on some sort of Sniper Zero. Look at that. Oh, I have to reload. Let's see here. Let's finish out this kill here. There we go. What the heck? Where's it at? Here it is. Let's see here. Oops. I inspect it. I can't inspect button. Let's go. We're going to screenshot that. And this is going on the community page. I honestly thought I'd be farming for longer, because I set up today as like my dedicated day to just farm for the sniper rifle. Like I was gonna go until the end of New Year's Eve and do this like whole watch party thing, and then this just happens while I'm recording footage for the video. Holy heck. I hope y'all enjoyed. There were definitely a lot of things that I forgot to talk about in the video, so do comment what you guys want me to talk about out of the stuff that I forgot about. And I hope y'all have an amazing New Year and an amazing rest of your day. Holy heck.